Good day. Hey, Gabriel here with the Icon Capture GPS Intelligence Brief for June 18th, 2026. All right, government affairs directors and influence practitioners, we need to talk because this is one of those boards where if you only look at the opportunity count, you are going to misread the market. Here's what I want to do with you today. I want to walk through the new opportunity flow, the legislative and executive movement, the regulatory and court signals, and then bottom line what this means if you're actually managing a portfolio right now and trying to decide where to lean in, where to stay patient, and where you may be kidding yourself. Before we start, this is the last brief before this terrain window narrows. 2 seats left in the GPS Terrain Movement Review. Terrain Update 6090 New Opportunities. Who moved and who didn't? That signal is what opened this session, and it will not repeat the same way tomorrow. Code GPS 551 at the-icon.ai capture. Now, let's read the board. So let's get right to the facts. Over the last 168 hours, GPS surfaced 6,290 new opportunities posted on SAM.gov. 2703 legislative signals. 0 federal hiring signals across 0 agencies. And all of that is happening while market BCL is 0%, with 0 agencies stalled under the continuing resolution. Examining the data, the opportunity flow appears robust with 6,290 identified opportunities within the past week. However, without accompanying figures, this sheer volume lacks context. It raises the question, are these opportunities equally accessible, or does a significant compliance friction impede them? The absence of best-case likelihood, BCL, percentages suggests a potential gap in confidence levels across these opportunities. When we turn to the capture terminal, it becomes crucial to differentiate between raw volume and true accessibility. The top opportunities like the P-8A aircraft full-rate production and the DHS department-wide cloud signify substantial interest, but without disclosed amounts, evaluating impact becomes tricky. This lack of transparency could either signify competitive sensitivity or a potential drag on competitive readiness, CR, a signal we can't afford to ignore. Government affairs directors who read this policy tape should note the regulatory drag implicit in these signals. With no movement in legislative or DFARS domains, the board suggests a temporary regulatory stasis, presenting a paradox: high opportunity volume yet fraught with potential compliance hurdles. Managers who read this tape know that translating raw volume into actionable insights hinges on understanding these nuances. Turning to secondary signals, the terrain holds and lack of hiring activity might imply that agencies are in a holding pattern, potentially awaiting clearer regulatory guidance or court rulings. With no court opinions or hiring spread, the landscape seems temporarily static, albeit potentially misleading. This inactivity can mask underlying shifts in lobbying clusters, which often act as precursors to policy change. For influence practitioners, these dormant signals may indicate market mispricing. The absence of lobbying clusters suggests that entities might be underestimating forthcoming regulatory shifts. This is precisely where smart portfolio moves reside, positioning ahead of visible activity, banking on the eventual closing of these terrain holes. An astute reading of this data would advise a proactive stance in engagement strategies. While the signals seem muted, the lack of agency hiring and lobbying could mean an impending flurry of activity. Government affairs professionals should view this as an opportunity to anticipate and influence these potential shifts before they fully crystallize on the public stage. The government affairs and influence market is a dynamic landscape characterized by regulatory shifts and stakeholder realignments. Are you accurately capturing the velocity of policy changes and their potential impact on your strategic objectives? How are you positioning your stakeholders to mitigate compliance friction and protest risks? Do you have a robust mechanism in place to adapt to sudden lane changes in regulatory and court signals? Our conviction is clear. A proactive, data-driven approach to policy velocity is essential for maintaining a competitive edge and ensuring stakeholder alignment in an ever-evolving regulatory environment. Last thing before I sign off, and I want to be direct. 2 seats left in the GPS terrain movement review. When this window closes, the terrain that justified it moves on. Tomorrow's signal will be different. The next session will read a different board. If the brief we just walked through gave you a reason to act, now is the time. Code GPS 551, communities.theicon.ai/capture the-govcon-elite, 11.6 million records, 4 verticals ready. Provenance traced from build to award. Like and subscribe if you're managing a federal grant, research, GovCon, or commercial portfolio. I drop a new GPS brief every weekday. All links, terminal preview, Shipley sessions, live cohort calendar, and the full brief are at communities.theicon.ai/capture/the-govcon-elite. Register free and it's all there. This is Gabriel. I'll see you tomorrow. I'll need to disconnect you shortly due to